men are no longer approaching.
That's the funny thing is that they don't. I have gotten approached at a party maybe twice since being here.
So why should a woman approach a man?
Men are afraid to do and say the wrong thing in today's post-movement era, which is a big issue.
I mean, he was probably 30 feet from me when he said, "Excuse me, ma'am." And I turned around and I literally yelled at him and I said, "Do not approach me. Do not approach me. Do not approach me."
Have you ever heard someone say, if you don't change your approach, you will never change your results? Or stay committed to your decisions, but stay flexible in your approach? Or your approach is everything? Welcome to Management Highlights Daily. Have you ever heard a woman say something like this?
That's the funny thing is that they don't. I have gotten approached at a party maybe twice since being here. Men don't approach us here. Which, you know, I find funny because there's so many beautiful women here in Isla Vista.
Honestly, think that might be the problem.
Yeah, there's so many of us here.
That was a time that it was considered shocking to hear a woman say that she wasn't approached by men. However, in today's society, it has become increasingly common and maybe even the norm. The phenomenon of men not approaching women holds a profound significance, shaped by a multitude of factors that contribute to its occurrence. This video clip of the Whatever podcast is going to be the foundation of our presentation, because almost everything you need to know about why men are not approaching women is on that panel. So in this presentation, we will dive into the complexity behind this social shift, explore the underlying reasons, and their collective impact on modern interpersonal dynamics. We're going to break this video down in 3 chapters. Traditional gender roles, the law of cause and effect, the unattractive and unapproachable woman, and the danger of approaching women. So grab some popcorn, because this is one of those long MHD videos. Patreon supporters, salute! You will get the original video. For YouTube, we got the YouTube-friendly version. Now it's time for us to get into this and do what we gotta do. Because we men, ain't we? We men, ain't we?
How do you ask for a date? What about this?
Ian? Well, how about a date? Well,
really? No thanks, Woody.
The 1950s held on to traditional gender roles, where men were expected to take the initiative and plan dates, while women were expected to be receptive and polite. Men were the ones who asked women out and picked them up for the date. With the progress of gender equality and changing societal norms, traditional gender roles have been challenged. But in today's society, women still expect men to take on these traditional roles. They expect men to take the initiative, plan dates, and pay for these dates.
Leads me to my second point. This is me backwards for you guys. Make plans. Make a plan. Do not assume that you can text somebody randomly in the middle of the day, "What are you doing?" or text them at midnight or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or even just within hours of when you actually want to see them and think that they're going to be available. I personally, once I get home and I take my makeup off and I'm watching TV, I'm no longer interested. So if you didn't make a plan earlier in the day, or better yet, a day or 2 or 3 in advance, I'm not interested. I don't want to hang out anymore because that ship has sailed.
But I would not be like, here's a drink for me and you. Absolutely not, no. As a man, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So I'm not supposed to be out here searching and hunting and, where's a man, where's a relationship?
Don't do that. We're not going to the Bible. Don't do that.
I'm a very independent woman. And I can't even accept gifts. I pay for my own shit. But when it comes to dates, I feel like I'm not taking them out on a date. They are taking me out on a date. So they are taking me for my time,
Yeah.
So I expect them to pay. And like, maybe that's just my old traditional thoughts, like them being gentlemen. Like, I like them when they get the seat out, make sure like they open the door for me, you know, all that stuff. Like, paying is a part of it.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Because yes, I mean, I work every day pretty much.
This is where challenges arise, because men are often still expected to conform to traditional gender roles in dating, while women have increasingly come to see these roles as limiting and restricting, hindering personal growth and reinforcing unequal power dynamics. Look at this example of the dynamics of dating in the 1950s.
Besides, what's happened between you and Marie?
Between me and Marie? What?
Jeff, Marie is my friend. Besides, everybody knows you two are going steady. Don't try to pretend.
Going steady? Me? Well, thanks anyway, Diane.
Going steady was a cultural norm of the time, emphasizing loyalty, fidelity, and the development of emotional intimacy between two people. It was seen as a step towards a more serious and potentially long-life partnership, leading to engagement and marriage in many cases. What also played a significant role was the public acknowledgement and recognition of the relationship. The community knew what was going on. Now look what's happening in today's society.
So right now, kind of like talking situationship. I'm in a really serious situationship right now.
I mean, yeah, I have here and there, but again, not really. It's getting over a recent breakup and stuff. Like, I haven't really been putting myself out there.
Has there been a rebound?
There was like one person I was seeing for like a very short period of time, but I don't really talk to them anymore.
And what about you? Any hookups here and there? Or
a couple here and there. Nothing super serious, but
other ones.
I mean, there's like three-ish.
Three sneaky links.
I mean, I guess I just have like one. Like, he's just like always there, I guess. He like is my neighbor, so I can just walk over to his room.
Oh, that's the best.
yeah, one as well. But yeah. How about you?
I wouldn't like say I have any sneaky links, because like sneaky links are just like casual hookups, so.
And you don't do casual hookups, right?
Currently one.
None. I don't do casual hookups.
Luke?
I have one.
Damn.
Situationships, hookups, sneaky links, F-buddies. In a situationship, two people may spend a significant amount of time together, engage in activities typically associated with dating or being in a relationship, and there may even be emotional or physical intimacy. However, unlike a traditional relationship, a situationship lacks the explicit commitment, exclusivity, or clarity regarding the future. Take a look at this graph. In the 1950s, women typically married at the age of 20. Many young women married shortly after finishing high school or in their early 20s. This early age of marriage was influenced by societal norms, expectations, and traditional gender roles that emphasize marriage and starting a family as important milestones, while men generally married around the age of 23. Men often pursued education or established themselves professionally before getting married. However, as depicted on this graph, the average age of marriage has steadily increased over the past 7 decades for both men and women, indicating significant shifts in societal norms and personal choices regarding the timing of marriage. In the 1950s, women left the dating market at a young age. By contrast, in today's society, women prefer an open dating market, still dating past their prime. That's why when women in general say they are not approached by men, it's important to consider the context and complexity of this claim. When a woman says she's not approached by men, it doesn't necessarily mean men do not approach her.
No, me and my friends, like, we never really get approached at parties. So even the men who do come up and talk to us, they're
You've been approached only twice.
I mean, that I can.
I mean, you can have conversations.
So she was approached, and of course, she was not interested in these guys. That brings us to the next chapter.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if
a bus
he owns
driver?
the bus? If he owns it. If he owns the bus,
See, that's the problem.
This is just the reality of it. So women, we're more educated now, and I think that we're furthering our education. So with that being said, we're gonna hold off on the baby making. We're gonna hold off until we get that great job, really career driven. And I don't think there's anything wrong with hoping that there's someone either on your level or higher than you.
I feel like I've been feeling really like I'm in my own bubble, and like nobody knows I exist. And like obviously I do have like my internet friends and everything, but like in the real world I feel like I don't have anybody right now.
Social media has and will always have a more negative impact on my mental health.
It was detrimental to the way I viewed myself, the way I looked at my friends.
I was actually diagnosed with depression around age 14. I have personally been diagnosed with both depression and anxiety.
The law of cause and effect, also known as causality, is a fundamental principle in philosophy, science, and everyday reasoning. It states that every event or phenomenon has a cause, and every cause produces an effect. In other words, for every effect, there is a prior cause or causes that caused the effect. For this presentation, we're going to highlight a few causes. Check this out.
The feminist movement and the sexual revolution were two radically different movements. The feminist movement was fighting for equal opportunity for women in education and the workforce. The sexual revolution was fighting for all sorts of sexual freedoms. Cosmo, we pretended that this sexual revolution was a freedom for women. It actually was not. It was actually kind of a slavery. But we pretended it was freedom for women. And over time, as the sexual revolution and the women's movement got identified closer and closer together, a lot of women began to buy into that illusion.
This is Sue Ellen Browder, a former Cosmo writer for 20 years. She came clean about the lies she sold to help Cosmopolitan convince women that sexual liberation was the key to happiness and success. In the 1960s, there were numerous underlying causes that contributed to the effects we see today. The birth control pill was also approved during that time, and women gained more control over their bodies and sexuality during the 1960s. Women could have sex without risk of pregnancy, contributing to these situationships and hookups. But it is the mindset behind their actions that keeps men from approaching them. Check this out.
When a young woman, an insecure young woman, reads these magazines and thinks that she has to have perfume, cosmetics, hair products, beautiful clothes, singles travel, abortions, contraception, when she thinks she has to have all of these things, she's going to spend a lot of money. What these magazines are doing, and what now the internet and everywhere, turning a woman into a commodity. She's got this picture of herself on herself. It's all about me. If you can convince a woman that everything is about her, then she has to buy a whole bunch of stuff to make herself so wonderful. If inside she knows who she is, she doesn't need all that stuff.
This is pure gold. This is exactly why we highlight movies and TV shows from a red pill perspective. So you can see the programming, the quote-unquote "it's all about her" narrative. They do a great job feeding women this selfish mindset. If everything revolves around her and she prioritizes shining like a star and acquiring materialistic possessions, what type of man do you think aligns with this selfish, narcissistic mindset? It's not average Joe. So if a woman says she's not approached, she means she's not approached by the men she wants. The men who boost her ego, who inflate the sense of self-importance. That's why she cannot date a bus driver, an average Joe.
I assume you've had successes in helping men get better with women and find girlfriends, wives, so on and so forth. What would you say has been the most effective thing in your coaching of these men to help them cross that threshold?
I've helped people a lot with dating profiles. Their dating profiles are trash. Women look at a profile for a significant
first photo.
Yeah, like that's it, and they're done. They're automatically, they'll find the smallest ick. Basically, it's making the man look more successful.
What do you believe is the effect when the majority of men consistently face rejection from women? It can have various effects, but in the context of this presentation, they may be less likely to approach women or engage in romantic pursuits, fearing further rejection. Let's take it a step further.
Men don't approach us here. Which, I find funny because there's so many beautiful women here in Isla Vista.
Honestly think that might be the problem.
Yeah, there's so many of us here. But
all of my friends are attractive. All of my friends are successful. All of my friends have something going on. Almost every single one of them have an issue with men.
When engaging in these discussions, there's often a tendency to overlook men's preferences, as modern Western women tend to place blame solely on men. We frequently encounter statements like, "Where did all the good men go? Men need to man up. Men are intimidated. Men are superficial. And men can't handle a strong and independent woman." To make a long story short, it's all men's fault. But that's far from the truth. A plausible reason why men choose not to approach women is that they may not be attracted to them. It's important to recognize that attraction is not a choice. And in many cases, men's preferences are influenced by biological factors. This brings us to the first unattractive woman.
I would say at around the age of 45, I started noticing that the way I was perceived was slightly different than what I had become used to. And then I would put photos of myself in bikinis. All of a sudden I started getting the influx of, "Are you a little desperate there, Grandma? How about you cover up and spare us the look of your poor aging body?" I was sort of getting relinquished to the invisible women category.
The first unattractive woman is the woman that hit the wall. Paulina Poroskova is the perfect example for this, because she used to be a supermodel and she aged very well. But this says a lot about the wall. The wall is undefeated. Even the most physically attractive women that walk the earth can't beat it. Once upon a time, she was invincible, and now she is invisible. Men in general are attracted to younger women, and dating platform Zoosk surveyed their 40+ million members about who date younger women. Here's what they found. 60% of men are attracted to younger women. Half of them prefer 1 to 4 years younger. 27% 5 to 9 years younger, and 22% 10+ years younger. 27% are attracted to older women, defined as 1 to 4 years older. 13% prefer the same age. In short, the majority of single men prefer women within 10 years of their own age.
Have you ever dated a plus-size woman?
No.
Was it their weight that stopped it, or just you guys just weren't compatible?
So my look is like, I don't know, I'm very chic, and it's cute and it's comfy, and I don't have to worry about tugging anything all day.
The second unattractive woman is the woman that's overweight, fat, obese. Take a look at this graph. Overweight and obesity stats. Asian women are killing it. Black women are destroying it. And it's interesting because we reviewed the Swirler book called How to Be Irresistible to White Men. Irresistible Dating Secrets of Asian Women, Black Women Who Swirl Should Know. And this is one of the things that's in this book.
The men at the top of their financial and physical game will prefer you to be in good shape, slender and toned, and won't give you the time of day if you are grossly overweight or obese.
Don't get it twisted. The invisible woman and the fat woman still get approached. Maybe not on the streets, but definitely online. And like most women, they don't want these guys.
So what remains are all the ones that nobody else wants.
Oops. The guys that they want are the men at the top, and these guys are not looking for old and fat women.
I can honestly say, I'll speak for myself because I don't want to speak for everybody, but I never thought about it. I never thought about how men feel. I never thought about, biologically speaking, what makes sense. I never thought about how in marriage, you know, especially if the man makes more, that it's kind of a shitty contract on their end. I know business. That doesn't make sense, you know?
Immediately after it was released, it shattered my entire world. The reason I thought it was okay for me to do was because I thought no one would ever find out about it. There's millions of girls who film themselves having sex and do things like that, and no one knows their name, no one knows who they are, no one recognizes them, so I wanted to do it as my dirty little secret, but it blew up in my face.
The third unattractive woman is the pariah. Mia Khalifa and Brittany Renner are good examples. If you didn't know them, and I would show you their pictures, the majority of you guys would not say these women are unattractive, because they are not unattractive because of their physical appearance. In fact, it's their combination of physical appearance and charisma that makes them attractive and captivating to watch. A pariah is an individual who is socially ostracized or shunned by the community, usually as a result of their actions or perceived transgressions. Mia Khalifa became famous because of prawn. Brittany Renner became one of the first big Instagram models, but she couldn't keep her mouth shut.
People want to know my body count. I don't know why in 2018 that's any of your business or why it matters. But 24, 11 athletes, woo! 5 entertainers, woo! 8 regular guys. Woo! I've only 3 regular guys since I've been Instagram famous because a lot of y'all run your mouths too much.
These women are unattractive because of the negative reputation they've built for themselves. Once again, it's not that a pariah is not approached, but it's the men that these women want that are not approaching them, because these men have standards. Being associated with women like Brittany Renner and Mia Khalifa in a romantic way will definitely hurt your reputation. Remember, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about that, you'll do things differently. Warren Buffett. This brings us to the unapproachable woman.
And why men may not approach you is because you do not smile.
That you are not smiling. You literally will not bust a smile to save your life.
Smiling. People want to be with people that are happy, easygoing.
Put your goddamn phone away.
The most important thing here is to stay off of your damn phone.
Avoid looking at your phone. I know it may seem a little awkward, but simply looking around and engaging with your surroundings will make it easier for somebody else to approach you. Put it away.
To say women lack game would be an understatement. It's understandable since women often receive attention simply for their presence, which can hinder the development of their game. Rejecting men is also part of being approached, and it's an essential skill that a lot of women lack. Cause and effect, remember? Listen to this.
Black women must learn the proper way to reject guys. With Asian women, there will be no loud, rude or embarrassing proclamations so that any other guy thinking of doing the same quickly retreats. The letdown is kind and gentle, almost as though they are embarrassed for the man, but at least he can walk away without his entire immediate surrounding knowing he has just struck out.
This is also from the Schroeder book, okay? Women are repeating what we've been saying for a very long time. It's interesting how some of these female dating coaches and matchmakers quit matchmaking for women because they are impossible to work with. Now, before we go to the final chapter, I want you to hear this from the book as well. And I quote, "If there was a man you were interested in and you saw him completely rip a woman to shreds for even thinking she was good enough to flirt with him, would you dare sign up to potentially receive similar abuse? Of course not." End quote. And that brings us to the final chapter.
For too long, women have not been heard or believed if they dared to speak their truth to the power of those men. But their time is up.
I tell them that we're stronger together and that this is a movement of survivors and advocates doing things big and small every day.
Explosive stories broken by the New York Times and New Yorker magazine within days of each other. A number of women in the United States speaking out for the very first time, accusing Harvey Weinstein, one of the world's most prominent film producers, of harassment and sexual assault. Days later, American actress Alyssa Milano asked her Twitter followers to respond with "Me Too" if they'd also experienced sexual harassment. That single tweet opened up the floodgates around the world.
The Me Too movement in 2017 raised awareness to numerous stories of sexual abuse of women in the workplace. And not only was the movement successful in exposing individuals like Harvey Weinstein, it even had an impact on public policy through the passage of laws to prevent harassment in the workplace. But like anything, the pendulum swings both ways. Despite its success, the Me Too movement promoted extreme slogans such as "Believe all women," and along with it created a climate of fear where innocent men were unfairly accused and reputations destroyed.
Did Johnny brutalize you? Ever?
And the most notable was the Johnny Depp-Amber Heard case, where Heard wrote an op-ed alleging that she was a victim of abuse. And it wasn't until 4 years after getting canceled from everything when Depp won the defamation trial for the false allegations.
Again, the law of cause and effect occurs.
Has any woman come forward since? This is Me Too without any Me Too.
We have a big issue. We have a really big issue. 3.5 times more men say today that they will not go alone with a woman for dinner. 5 times more likely men not wanting to travel with women.
This is a big problem. When we first heard this from Mike Pence, we laughed at it. We said it was absurd. And now if we're actually hearing this from business people, I am worried.
We wanted to cover the growing trend of false allegations, false accusations of sexual assault, that men just perhaps don't feel that it's worth the risk to approach a woman, ask her out because of this increasing trend that we're seeing. Because more and more you're seeing that, for example, if a man touches a woman's hand or maybe just cold approaches her and asks her on a date, it's harassment, I'm being harassed. Just kind of an a very unjust accusation to say I'm being harassed. Obviously, if the man's asked her 10 times and she said, "No, I'm sorry, I'm not interested, please leave me alone," and he keeps doing it, then that's when you get into harassment. But like the first time they come up and ask, or even another time, because some women like to be chased, all of this is just being wiped away.
The potential dangers men face when approaching women include the risk of being falsely accused, which can result in severe consequences such as jeopardizing their job, career, reputation, and even personal freedom, especially in a system where men are guilty until proven innocent. This is a new era where the notion of marrying early and staying together until death, like in the 1950s, is increasingly unlikely in the 2020s. Finding a young woman who has had limited sexual experiences with fewer than 3 partners is now a rarity. And it's important to clarify that this video focuses on the topic of men not approaching women. So if men refuse to engage with the opposite sex, things are not looking too good. However, it's crucial to recognize that there are actions you can take to navigate this situation. Personally, I made the decision to take my talents overseas to a country that still upholds traditional values. While it requires effort, such as learning the language and adapting to a new culture, it can be a viable option. Of course, I understand that not everyone is able or willing to leave their current location. For those who prefer to stay in the Western world or cannot leave for various reasons, it's essential not to let life pass you by. As I've emphasized in other videos, you can find joy in many things in life, such as exploring new places, learning new skills, or making meaningful connections with others. Embrace the opportunities that come your way and find joy in each experience. Remember, we men, ain't we? Shit. Man, that's where we working. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.